Brandon Lee from Immune Strong Families with you here today. Hey, so we want to talk about viruses and specifically the 5 viruses that are in the news and making headlines right now. So first and foremost, you've got to understand that when the media create headlines, basically their purpose is to create anxiety and fear and worry and alarm and panic, okay? In the eyes of the media, if their headline creates even a marginal amount of worry or concern or fear or alarm, well, then they've succeeded, okay? Everyone knows that headlines that are full of fear and bad news tend to sell, okay? So there have been some headlines about viruses in the media recently that have the potential to create some false panic, and I want to add some context to them, okay? So the first virus is called hmpv, and it stands for human metapneumovirus, okay? hmpv. Supposedly there's an outbreak in China of hmpv and everyone is freaking out over there. Now, whether it's true or not that there is an outbreak, it's important to know that hmpv is not new. Okay, this is a virus that's been around forever and it will continue to be around forever. And you've already been exposed to hmpv at some point in your life. Okay, it's everywhere. It's common. The word is ubiquitous, meaning it's like the air we breathe. It's everywhere. Okay, so that's a virus that's been in the media that you need to be aware that it's just another one of the millions of viruses that we're constantly in contact with. The other 4 are being called the quad-demic. Okay, have you heard about this yet? The quad-demic is basically kind of a increase in 4 different viral infections all at the same time currently here in the United States. And this is nothing to be alarmed about, but it's something, let's add some context and talk about it. The first virus that they're talking about in the quad-demic is the flu virus, okay? The flu, nothing new there. The flu happens every single year. It's really, nothing new, nothing to be alarmed about. COVID-19 is the second virus in the quad-demic. Again, nothing to be alarmed about. We have literally been dealing with specifically COVID-19 for 5 years now, but coronaviruses have been around forever. Okay, so you've already probably been sick with COVID-19 a couple times by now. Nothing to be worried about. The next virus is RSV. Okay, RSV stands for respiratory syncytial. It's a hard word to say. Syncytial, respiratory syncytial virus, RSV. It's basically the common cold, okay? RSV has been around forever. I promise you, you've already had a cold from RSV at some point in your life, okay? So nothing to be worried about there. And then the 4th one is the norovirus. Now, a little bit different. Every other virus that we've talked about in this video is a respiratory virus, breathing and lungs. The norovirus is more of a stomach bug, okay? So when you have been sick with diarrhea and throwing up and a stomach bug, it was probably the norovirus. Just like all the other viruses, it's been around forever and you've already been exposed to it. Okay, so at the end of the day, all 5 of these viruses that are making headlines right now are not new, they're not novel. Even if they have some new variant that has come along, guess what? Your body has been exposed to these viruses at some point. Viruses are everywhere, all right? It's just they gave names to these 5. There's a million other viruses that they could talk about, and they would have scary names that you've never heard of. But the more that we're familiar with them, the less scary they get. Okay, so to think that you could somehow prevent exposure to these is ludicrous, okay? They're everywhere. You've already been exposed to all of these viruses and you will get exposed to them again. Even if you wear 4 masks and you stay indoors and you take every ridiculous precaution that you could, you're still going to get exposed to them. They're like the air that you breathe. They're everywhere, okay? So the question is not to, the issue is not to be worried about it being exposed to these viruses. The question and the idea is to work on your immune system and work on the health of your body. Healthy people don't really need to worry about these viruses, okay? Now, to show you how important vitamin D is for pretty much every virus, but specifically these, and to show you that these are not new, I will have links to these studies in the blog post, and so check them out. But guess what? Back in 2017, there was a study published that looked at vitamin D and hmpv and RSV, okay? So those two viruses that are making headlines right now, they're not new. There was a study published in 2017 that talked about that children who are deficient in vitamin D are at higher risk of having an infection from those particular diseases, okay? So, not new. They've been studying this stuff for years. Norovirus, the stomach bug, there was a study done in 2018 that you should click on the link and look at that showed that an inverse relationship between vitamin D levels and your risk of having norovirus symptoms. So what that means is that the lower your vitamin D level, the more likely you are to have diarrhea, throwing up, vomiting, and fever because of a norovirus, okay? So again, nothing new here. These are viruses that you've already been exposed to. And so the task here is work on your health, work on your immune system health. Vitamin D is an essential, critical part of that immune system health so that you don't have to live in fear of these things and you can just let those headlines wash off your back like a water off a duck's back. So I hope that has been helpful, and I can't wait to be with you guys next time.